partnership. So, okay, model partnership. So Jeff Hines with IFF Detroit will be introducing a special guest, and they'll highlight the partnership between the National Wildlife Federation and the IFF, which supports early childhood educators. So without further ado, Jeff, come on up. Yeah, hold it. No, Jeff, no. You came here from Detroit, man? And you brought her from Detroit? No. You can't be coming from Detroit and Colorado and get that kind of welcome, so sit down. Now let's try it again. We have Jeff, and he's brought two special guests that have come from Detroit and Colorado. Let's show them some love. Let them not welcome you correctly. There we go, welcome.
So, Tim, we flipped the presentation on you, so when this young woman starts talking, don't let people think she's Jeff Hensey. It'll be messed up.
And that's okay, too. That's okay.
Go ahead.
Good morning. 30 years. For 30 years, I've been operating a high-quality early childhood education program. 30 years. You see, I keep putting emphasis on 30 years. That's a lot of dirty diapers. Now, let me introduce myself. My name is Kai-E Young, owner and director of Squiggles and Giggles Child Care, located in Detroit, Michigan. I am a home-based provider. Picture this. For 7,800 days, take away a few weeks for vacations, bad weather, holidays, I've been engaging with children pretty much on a daily. Now let's talk about all the fun and excitement we've had in those 30 years. Playing in our backyards. Throughout the years, I've spent thousands and thousands of dollars trying to create the perfect outdoor experience for the children that I cared for. I wanted them to go outside and have a memorable time that was like going to the playground. And yes, the children considered it the playground, which made me really proud. The children had a blast. They ran, they screamed, they kicked balls, they screamed, they jumped rope, they screamed, they played basketball, well, attempted to play basketball. They rode on little tricycles, played in the little playhouses, and yes, they screamed. There were so many activities that we engaged them in also. They had so much fun doing what kids do outside. We picked flowers, well, dandelions, and weeds that look like flowers. So when I got a bouquet of weeds, I smelled them and loved them as if there was a perfect blend of flowers that smelled great. In my mind, I always thought, wouldn't it be nice if they could see real flowers grow? During the school year, September through May, we did a lot of the regular learning. We learned rhyming words, how to count, recognize letters, colors, shapes, things like that. We did outdoor play, but only for a portion of the day. The children never wanted to come back inside. During the summer months, June, July, and August, we played outdoors all day. I even explained to the parents that during the summer months, that's the time we would just play, and enjoy all the outdoor time we could. And very little inside learning would happen. But in the back of my mind, that never sat right with me. Why should children only have the opportunity to learn, explore, engage inside and not outside? But what do I do? How can I change their outdoor playground into an outdoor learning experience? And that's when the National Wildlife Federation came in and changed our perspective.
So how is it that a team from the National Wildlife Federation based in Colorado comes to be working with an early childhood provider on the west side of Detroit? Well, that's why we're all here today talking about the power of partnerships. My name is Jeff Hensey, and I work for IFF, which is a nonprofit that fundamentally believes that all children should have access to a healthy, safe, and inspiring learning environment. For decades now, our organization has designed, planned, developed, and renovated early child care facilities. Projects as small as an egress window in a home-based space, all the way up through multi-million-dollar developments that serve hundreds of families. But in a vast majority of these cases, we've been talking about working with the traditional indoor environment for learning. In ECE, as with literally everything else in the world right now, budgets are limited. So when we're renovating a space or working on a grant program, we're focusing on the most essential health and safety elements of a facility. As the manager of our Learning Spaces grant program in Detroit, for years I was the guy who said, don't come to me about playgrounds, you gotta talk to Kaboom about that slide, that's not what we do here. But in 2019, one of our funders introduced us to the National Wildlife Federation, encouraged us to find ways to seek partnerships and to think more deeply about what it meant to have an outdoor learning environment, going beyond that traditional playground that we all think of in our minds. So, as a nature lover and a somewhat secret hippie myself, I loved this idea and we pursued a partnership. That began the process of finding the right landing spot for a program that would incorporate outdoor learning with early childhood programs. And we found the perfect match in the Brightmore Quality Initiative, or BQI. BQI is a group of female entrepreneurs and child care providers, including Kai, who have functioned as a cohort for over a decade now with the support of the Max and Marjorie Fisher Foundation. IFF already at this point was engaging with the cohort to renovate their indoor learning spaces, and the leadership at the foundation felt like this would be the ultimate opportunity to supplement those with high-quality outdoor learning environments and really maximize the learning opportunities for children in these programs. The fact that this all began to happen and pull together as COVID was spreading only reinforced the need for healthy spaces for children and for getting kids outside as much as humanly possible while still providing them with an environment in which they could learn. So now all we had to do was figure out how to pull together a program with NWF in Colorado on COVID-related travel restrictions, every child care provider in the city of Detroit in constant panic mode, trying to help serve families during a pandemic, and also knowing that when we eventually went to implement all of this work, we were going to be up against massive material delays and soaring construction costs. So it was very fun and straightforward, as you can all imagine. But luckily, this is where I had the opportunity to lean on, or more accurately, completely hand the reins over to our friends and partners at the National Wildlife Federation.
So what did this partnership actually look like? My name is Jessica Ewell, and I'm from the Early Childhood Health Outdoors, or ECHO initiative. ECHO is a part of the National Wildlife Federation, and our goal is to ensure that every young child experiences nature daily for the health of our kids, communities, and planet. And we do this by meeting children and caregivers where they spend time on a daily basis. So in childcare programs, in schools, in parks, libraries, and their homes. So like Jeff mentioned, in the summer of 2020, we partnered with BQI and IFF to host an outdoor learning cohort with 12 early childhood providers. These were a mix of family childcare providers who run a childcare program in their home and center-based providers who care for children in a childcare center. So the cohort met once a week from June to August for an hour each week. The cohort focused on different topics around outdoor play and learning. So they learned about best practice in outdoor learning environments. So how adding pathways, gardens, loose parts, shade, and gross motor opportunities can make an outdoor space more engaging for young children. They learned how you can take a space like this photo on the left and transform it into the photo on the right. Just take a look at the difference between these two pictures. This is the same space after making some changes to that space. You can just see how the space on the right creates a magical environment for children to grow and explore in nature. In the cohort, the providers brainstormed how to create opportunities for physical activity, fine motor skills, messy play, and social emotional learning in outdoor spaces. Again, they'd learned, and Liz, can you just advance the slide once? I'm going to show you one more example. They learned how to take this space on the left and transform it into the space on the right. So this is a family childcare home in this picture. This is the same space before and after. So this is a backyard space. You can see how the space on the right just has so much more variety for children. It has a pathway to encourage physical activity. It has plants and vegetation to connect children to nature and teach them about gardening. It has stumps for sitting, jumping, and climbing, and it has storage for bringing indoor materials outside. But more than just learning about how to design an outdoor space, the providers also thought of different ways to use and activate their space with different activities. So this could be loose parts play, art and music, group lessons, and reading outdoors. We really focused on the idea that just in the same way that your indoor classroom has different centers and different activities, the same should be true for your outdoor space as well. To bring all of that learning together, we also focused on family and community engagement. So we know that providers don't need to go through this process on their own, nor should they go through it alone. Working with their program families, community members, and community partners is such an important part of this process. The cohort really provided this amazing opportunity for shared learning. So our team brought examples and photos of different providers and programs that we've worked with, but the really incredible part was that the providers were able to learn from each other. They're the ones who are working with children each day, so they come with their own experience, expertise, and lessons about outdoor play and learning. And they also come with different challenges that they'd like to overcome. At the end of the cohort, the providers went through a design process to plan for their outdoor space. So each provider first learned how to analyze their space. They took measurements. They noted which areas of their space were sunny and shady. And then they also took inventory of what they already had in their space that they wanted to keep. Then they participated in design workshops with the ECHO design team. So in those workshops, they talked about what's working in my space, what's not working, and where am I seeing those challenging behaviors. Our design team then shared different ideas of activities and areas they could add to their outdoor space, and then the providers picked which settings they wanted to add to their plan. The design team then created design plans, so they incorporated their space layout, those best practice indicators in outdoor learning environments, and the providers' hopes and dreams for their space. So, after going through the professional learning cohort and the design process, these providers are now making changes to their outdoor space. Kai is making changes to her space right now, so she's going to talk a little bit more about her experience in the cohort and what her hopes are for the future.
So, my experience in the cohort was life-changing for the children and the families that I currently care for and the future children that will pass through my doors. Once a week, for 1 hour, for 10 weeks, myself along with BQI providers had virtual meetings where Jessica and the NWF team taught us about outdoor learning spaces. Once the training was complete, that's when the real fun began. 3-step process: learn, design, plan. Now, what did I learn? Let me share a little bit with you. I learned that there are many benefits of being outdoors and that a learning space can be created right in my backyard. Creating natural play opportunities is a solution to increase the amount of time children spend in the outdoors for health of their minds, bodies, and spirits. Becoming a nature-based program allows children's imaginations to soar. Something as simple as gathering natural materials like sticks, leaves, and grass to use in the loose parts play can aid in a child's creativity. Having small stumps of various heights, the children can step across for learning balancing skills, counting, and problem solving. Having a deck or some type of stage can encourage dramatic play for skits and presentations for children to perform for their peers as well as their parents. Natural elements found in the yard can be used for props, which also allows children to be creative and use their imagination. Research shows that being outdoors in nature offers multiple benefits to children, including children will be smarter, healthier, happier, and better able to get along with others when they have regular opportunities, free and unstructured time outdoors. Children also found to play more cooperatively when they have free range of being outdoors. One of the most important things that I've learned during this process was about planting. When to plant, where to plant, why should I plant, how to plant, and what to plant. Vegetable gardens are a great start to teach the children and to help them understand that food comes from only one place, the earth. When a child has the opportunity to choose a vegetable, use their hand to dig in the soil, plant, water, and see the results of their labor, it allows children's curiosity to expand and have the desires to taste the crops that they have planted. My design process. What does my space currently look like? What are the dimensions of my space? How can we utilize every inch of my space? During our parent meetings, I allowed the parents to give me ideas of what their ideal outdoor space for their children would look like. And they came up with ideas that I thought were very creative. I was even able to teach them about benefits of outdoor learning spaces. Once we had our ideas, NWF supplied us with the important tools such as tape measures, compasses, clipboards, graph paper, pens, things like that. We were even provided with short video links on how to properly use the materials. We sent pictures and the design layout of our current space to the team. Once the team received the pictures and had an aerial view of our space, we met and we began the process of our wish list. What would I like to see in the space? And the greatest part about it is it wasn't just my ideas. I had a professional with me from the NWF team to give me suggestions and directions on the layout of the space. My plans. Here are my plans. We are so looking forward to the next part. We have selected a contractor and we are preparing to implement the plans. We are super excited about the development starting soon. What my team and families can't wait for is seeing the children on the wheeled pathway for physical activities, as well as the deck for performances. I'm so excited about the loose parts play area. I'm looking forward to watching their imagination soar. What I'm most excited about is the raised garden beds, where the children can be a part of and watch flowers, fruits, and vegetables grow. Here's a cute story. I have a student in my childcare. Let's call him Grant. Now, Grant is a very, very picky eater and will only eat a few selected foods. This year, we introduced planting season with the children planting green beans, peas, and tomatoes in small potter plants. Each child chose their own vegetable and was responsible for watering their individual garden. We read the children the Growing Vegetable Soup book, and they were fascinated. Let's fast forward 2 weeks, and we began to see the vegetables sprouting. So excited every day for the next week. Grant would ask, "Is it time to make the vegetable soup? I can't wait to eat it." This went on for about a week. By the end of that week, I couldn't let him suffer anymore. So I went to the market and I purchased peas, green beans, and tomatoes, along with a few other ingredients, and guess what we made? Tomato soup. Did Grant eat his tomato soup? Absolutely not. Did Grant taste his tomato soup? Yes, he did, and he was very proud, and so was I.
So I think it's safe to assume that everyone in this room believes that access to nature for children is essential. If you don't, that's probably a weird story, and I'd also love to hear that. There's another conference, maybe you wandered in, I don't know. But really, we all know the benefits that work like this leads to. The impact on learning, on mental and physical health that can last for generations. This work came about from one initial partnership. And in the first year of implementation, it will impact hundreds of families in one neighborhood in Detroit. And none of it would have happened if IFF went at this alone, or if National Wildlife went at this alone, or if CAI and BQI went at this alone. Our ability to create partnerships has multiplied our power to become an agent of change for children and families. The power we hold in this room alone To create partnerships that can go beyond that to impact children and families across the country is enormous, and we recognize that. We heard it in the last session here. We'll continue to hear these conversations. So we want to invite you all in to all consider different partnerships and ways we can work together to magnify our power to impact life and health for children and families and to create equitable access to nature for all children. Thank you.